It is frightening. It's been more than 80 years since the last war came to our shores. It's really hard to imagine to even come to terms with the possibility of a war of that scale in our region.
Yeah, and we are talking about a worst-case scenario here, and it's not on China's mind, at least I don't think, to attack Australia at the moment, but it's important for us to be ready, and these were the points that the late Senator Jim Molan impressed upon me. And he also believes that it's 2027. And so if that worst-case scenario were to happen here, are we ready? Which gets us back to the question. Well, the short answer is no. No, we're not. And it's the fault of successive governments that's why we are where we are now. So leads us to the Defence Strategic Review. More needs to be done. More money needs to be spent. We need more troops. We need more assets in the air, on the ground, and in the sea. But Rita, do we have that much time? It's going to take so much time to get all that ready. It's not going to be here by 2027. We're absolutely certain that we're not going to have those nuclear subs here by 2027.
Certainly not. And yeah, they may not be looking to attack us in 2027, but we can't stand by and watch Taiwan be invaded. That is, again, a frightening prospect. And we've seen an escalation in the past week. We've had these Chinese spy balloons shot down over America. The threat seems to be becoming more real.
And that's a really interesting point, because so many people have been talking recently about a thawing of relationships between Australia and China. There has been this improved dialogue. And while the balloons more so relate to the United States, that relationship between the US and China is still, there's still a lot of friction about it. It exposes, I think, the true thinking behind China. So you got on one hand, reaching out to the West, wanting to improve nations because perhaps COVID-0 hasn't worked out as well as they had hoped it would. The economy is suffering. We need the West to come back in. But then on the other hand, it's sending up spy balloons that are floating over the top of sensitive military sites in the United States. Now, what does that tell you? Well, it says to me that they've still got ambitions, they've still got concerns about what Western nations are still doing.
And I guess the question we all want answered, and why we'll be watching tonight to see if we can get the full picture, is: are we ready? Is Australia ready? Do we know what we're going to do, what role we're going to play in the case of China moving against Taiwan?
Well, the short answer is no, and we're talking to some pretty serious military minds here. Former generals, retired generals, not just the late Senator Jim Molan. We talked to Mick Ryan as well, Major General Mick Ryan. So these are proper military minds who are convinced that we're not ready. We just simply don't have enough. And it's interesting. I've spoken to Tony Abbott in the past about this, and I've spoken to leadership in the United States too, Leon Panetta for starters, and these conversations were being had in 2012, 13, 14, relationships with Xi Jinping, and everyone says that they got him wrong. And so now we're having to play catch up for that. But, at what cost that'll be, I guess only time will tell.
Can't wait to see it tonight, Peter. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And Are We Ready for War? Premieres tonight, 7:30 p.m. right here on Sky News.